Niall, well done.
Thank you.
Did you enjoy that?
I would say I had a pretty good time.
Yeah, the crowd seemed to have a good time too. Yeah.
Yeah, it was more than I could have ever imagined. Especially, every now and then when we do songs that we think are obscure, and they were singing everything. Like,
Yeah, everybody knows everything.
I was shocked.
You're like a human jukebox, really, aren't you?
Yeah, and that was. We didn't play our full 2.5 hour set, but that was a good almost 2 hours, and they seem to know every single song, which is amazing.
And energy-wise, how do you do it? I mean, it's it's a long set, even at the hour and a half, or.
Well, because I'm only 59 years old.
I wasn't saying anything. Yeah,
I'm only 59 years old, and no, it's I actually feed off the vibe of the people, and this was the crowd so far this entire tour. When they brought up the house lights and we could see the people in the back, and it was just complete pandemonium. We had a crowd that was similar to this, and the only way that I can describe it is that it almost feels like you could walk off the stage and like walk on their vibe. It's almost like an invisible mountain of just funky love. It's incredible.
Do you get a bigger buzz out of performing or out of producing?
Buzz. We don't talk about getting buzzes anymore.
Okay.
No.
Vibe.
Okay.
No,
it's cool. No.
Hit. No, do you know what I mean? What gives you more pleasure?
I would have to say that it's pretty equal, because composing and writing this stuff is the big challenge, because you always want it to be fresh. I have that kind of wacky brain that's always writing music all the time, and you have to have powers of editing. You got to figure out what you don't want people to hear, because I'm just writing all the time, and I don't know what is appropriate for people, or if it's just weird and Nile likes it. So
you famously sobered up in Madonna's at Madonna's house
bathroom.
in her bathroom. Do you want to tell that story?
It was way back in 1994. Dinosaurs walked the earth. And Madonna was having a party when she had her house in Miami Beach, and I was there producing another artist. And God, it was so embarrassing. I was the last person to leave, and I was actually carried out by the artist, what was his name, Gerardo, who did Rico Suave.
Right, okay.
Not Rico Suave. Carried me home to my hotel, and then just when they thought it was cool to leave me, after they split, I got up and went out and bought more.
Kept on going, yeah. I like your style.
But that was it. That was the last time I ever had a drink or drug.
That was hardly rock bottom, though. It was Madonna's house, It's kind of a...
Well, it's rock bottom when you're the last one there. When Madonna's going like, Niall, there's no one left. There is no party. But in my head, there was a party.
So when you do shows like this now, I mean, Christy Moore is playing here tomorrow, and he used to, to drink and to take a lot of drugs.
I know, yeah.
And what he sort of said was that once he stopped drinking and taking drugs, that he looked forward to the performance, whereas beforehand he always looked forward to the after show. So is it the same with you?
That's an interesting way to put it. No, I always looked. I liked the performances before, because we were drinking it. What is he talking about? We were drinking and drugging on stage. What is he talking about? Unless he didn't have as much fun as we did. No, our drum riser used to be covered with styrofoam cups of beer all the way around. It actually looked like we decorated the stage like that. But it's just because under the lights you get so dehydrated that you're just like popping them down, and you're getting more and more thirsty, believe it or not. So, no, the shows were just as much fun as the after parties.
All right, okay.
Sometimes the shows were more fun.
Okay.
We did a gig once in Sweden, and the next thing you know, the girls in the front were like completely naked. Like they started throwing clothes on the stage, and I went,
Swede status.
Yeah, and I went, wait a minute, this is Chic. This is not Tom Jones, and like, and it wasn't just a bra. It was like first the top, then the bottom, and I was like going, these girls are gonna go home naked. So I was throwing the clothes back out in the audience because I didn't know what to do. I've never had that happen, but we've had some wild shows, and this one was pretty up there.
Well, they kept the clothes on tonight.
They did keep their clothes on.
It's a bit unfortunate, but
I was trying to get them, but we had some little kids in the front, so it was cool.
You've worked with a lot of big name artists over the years, but I mean, the album that you produced that I like the most would be Bowie's Let's Dance.
Yeah.
So any great memories of that one, or any particular memories?
It's
Both of you didn't have a record deal at the time.
right. We were both fired, which is interesting. Yeah, David paid for that record himself, and I think that probably the reason why it was so great and wonderful was because we were desperate, and our relationship just bonded instantly. So all of that emotion between us happened in almost no time at all. So it was almost like a hyper reality type of situation. But the one outstanding thing about that record that I remember was David having so much confidence and so much faith in me. And we basically had a partnership that was formed in a matter of hours. You know, we're chatting like this, and one thing led to the next, and next thing I know, I was in Switzerland lying in bed, and he was walking in my room going, listen to this. And we were recording, and we were off to the races.
Sure.
We made that record in literally 17 days.
17 days.
Start to finish, and we never touched it again. We never remixed anything. It was all done in that amount of time.
Okay. And how about Madonna? Because you produced Like a Virgin. That was...
Yeah, that's the biggest album of my life. And very much like Bowie, that album was done in a very short period of time. Literally, that whole project took 6 weeks start to finish. But the truth of the matter is that most of the time was spent just Madonna and myself working on her vocals, because this is the days before auto-tune. You know, like nowadays you just have her singing and just go, okay, Madonna, we got it covered.
Yeah.
But she had a vision, and some of the demos that we had were in keys that were naturally out of her range, but because she had learned them in that range, and actually she liked the sound, it made her sound very young. Like if you listen to Like a Virgin, I mean, Madonna is not a 16-year-old girl, and she's not a natural mezzo-soprano, but she's singing that high F sharp.
Yeah.
When she goes, like a virgin, and you know, and we worked hard on it, and she is the hardest working person I ever worked with next to myself.
Sure, okay.
She really puts in the time, she really wants it to be perfect, and many times we had arguments over things like her wanting to have the notes be more in tune, and I kept saying, no, Madonna, you're a storyteller. It's not about tuning, it's about emotion. We want to believe you, so we don't have to keep going over and over the same thing. But no matter how much I wanted to work, she would work. She never said, okay, no, that's done, I'm cool.
A lot of your music is very happy and sort of it's loved up to a certain extent, at least the music that I know.
Yeah.
But you're a former Black Panther. So is there no
That's
anger?
Wait a minute. That's not mutually exclusive. Matter of fact, that's probably why there's more love. No.
You think so?
Black Panthers are love. Yeah, man. The Black Panther Party was probably one of the greatest experiences of my life, except for the way that the organization was infiltrated and disbanded. But the people, especially in my section in New York City, were some of the most wonderful, loving, terrific people in the world. And as a matter of fact, to prove that point, one of my best friends, we were both 16 years old. He was 15 when he joined, I was 16. Was just nominated for an Academy Award, is a big film director. He's a professor, tenured professor at NYU, runs the film department there. Another good friend of mine who was also 15 when he joined is one of the foremost surgeons in New York. These are all loving people. Look at Kathleen Cleaver now, who's become, you know, a top professor, law professor. These were wonderful people. We were, the Black Panther Party, as it was founded in Oakland, it was very, very militant in Oakland, and it certainly had to be. The Oakland Police Department were, shall I say, not very kind to the black community. And Oakland was a hard, tough place. But remember, it was a national organization. And I was in New York City. I was in Greenwich Village, a very different scene.
Yeah.
All the cops in Greenwich Village were my buddies. I mean, I can't tell you how many times they saved me from crazy stuff. There's actually a famous shot of all the Black Panthers facing down the police, and you can see my little nose sticking up in that shot, and it's all of us standing there. And half of the cops are guys I went to school with. You know, it's like, what are they gonna do? They're gonna, well, let's go beat up Nile. You know, and I used to sit down and have conversations with them and say, you know, we all seem to be believe in the same thing. We're trying to clean up the drug dealers and get the gangsters out of the neighborhood. How come we're not unified? Well, because a lot of them were looking out for the businesses and, in a weird way, all of the bad people too. So there was a natural conflict. But many of the agents who infiltrated our organization have now come clean and apologized, and so the record should be clear now. It's not, the Black Panther Party has been exonerated. All of those people who went to jail, the Panther 21, every last one of those people were exonerated.
Okay. Well, back to music just before we go.
Okay.
And I'm just wondering, what do you think of Lady Gaga? I mean,
Lady Gaga is awesome. I did a show with her a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and what was cool about Gaga was not only is she a wonderful person, a generous person, but she's genuinely talented. She played now. You hear my. I mean, she was hanging with us, you know. So it was a serious band. It was Sting, myself, Narda, Michael Walden. I mean, it was a top flight band, and Elton John, and she was out there playing with us. And Gaga is cool. I think she's a really cool person, and I think that artistically, she's gonna just develop and grow. And if she doesn't get sidetracked and she stays in the lane that she's in, she may wind up being the next Madonna, meaning that she could be a personality, a viable artist for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
And Madonna, when you think about it, is the only person her age that can go up against the younger artists. McCarthy can't do it, Sting can't do it, Elton doesn't do it. None of the guys my age can do it, but Madonna is still a viable artist going up against 18, 19, and 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
And Gaga has the potential to be that artist when she's Madonna's age.
Could you convince her to come to Galway next year, do you think?
Me? Okay. I actually just got a note from her mom, believe it or not.
Well, ask her mom, that's the way through.
Yeah, no, well, they have a restaurant literally on my street in New York. I ate there right before I came out.
Cool, we'll send a postcard from here. No, thanks a million, great talking to you.
Thank you, bro.
All right, man.
This is really good.